Lewis Carroll. Through the Looking Glass. The king immediately fell flat on his back and lay perfectly still. Alice was a little alarmed at what she had done and went around the room to see if she could find any water to throw over him. However, she could find nothing but a bottle of ink. When she got back with it, she found he had recovered. He and the Queen were talking together in a frightened whisper, so low that Alice could hardly hear what they said. The king was saying, "I assure you, my dear, I turned cold to the very ends of my whiskers." To which the Queen replied, "You have not got any whiskers." The horror of that moment, the king went on, "I shall never, never forget." "You will, though," the Queen said, "if you do not make a memorandum of it." Alice looked on with great interest as the king took an enormous memorandum book out of his pocket and began writing. A sudden thought struck her. She took hold of the end of the pencil, which came some way over his shoulder, and began writing for him. The poor king looked puzzled and unhappy, and struggled with the pencil for some time without saying anything. But Alice was too strong for him. And at last he panted out, "My dear, I really must get a thinner pencil." "I cannot manage this one a bit, it writes all manner of things that I do not intend." "What manner of things?" said the Queen. She was looking over the book in which Alice had put the White Knight is sliding down the poker. "He balances very badly." That is not a memorandum of your feelings. There was a book lying near Alice on the table. While she sat watching the White King, she was still a little anxious about him. She had the ink all ready to throw over him, in case he fainted again. She turned over the leaves to find some part that she could read. For it is all in some language I do not know, she said to herself. It was like this. She puzzled over this for some time, but at last a bright thought struck her. Why, it's a looking-glass book, of course. And if I hold it up to a glass, the words will all go the right way again. This was the poem that Alice read. Jabberwocky. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son. The jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jujube bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the Tumtum Gree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, came whiffling through the tulgey wook, and burbled as it came. One, two. 1, 2. And through, The vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head, he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day! Cowlo! Callory! He chortled in his joy. "'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. It seems very pretty," she said when she had finished it, "but it is rather hard to understand." You see, she did not like to confess, even to herself, that she could not make it out at all. Somehow it seems to fill my head with ideas, only I do not exactly know what they are. However, somebody killed something, that is clear, at any rate. But oh, thought Alice, suddenly jumping up. If I do not make haste, I shall have to go back through the looking-glass before I have seen what the rest of the house is like. Let's have a look at the garden first. She was out of the room in a moment and ran downstairs. Or, at least, it was not exactly running, but a new invention of hers for getting downstairs quickly and easily, as Alice said to herself. She just kept the tips of her fingers on the handrail and floated gently down without even touching the stairs. Then she floated on through the hall and would have gone straight out at the door in the same way if she had not caught hold of the doorpost. She was getting a little giddy with so much floating in the air and was rather glad to find herself walking again in the natural way. Friends, please subscribe to the channel. Your likes will also greatly help its development. To be continued.